Right now, Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome inside the Fan Cave. This is where we talk sports every night of the week at 10:35. It's the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call, 412-575-2600. That's the number to call. Air your opinions. You can also hit me up on Twitter. It's at KDPump. I'll try to read some of those as we go along. On a day where the Pirates got a win that not many people thought was coming. When you look at the way that game had gone today, 2-1 into the ninth inning, the Pirates got a leadoff double by Rowdy Tellez off the bench. A couple of pinch hitters came through big time for them today. And then after strikeouts to Palacios and Hayes, rather easy ones, 3 pitches each, they called upon Joey Barton. He got a huge hit in the ninth to bring home the tying run. It went over the head of the right fielder to the wall. That made it 2-2, and then they explode with 4 in the 10th. They needed 4 because Arizona scored 3 in the bottom of the 10th and what was a 6-5 win. Important because the Pirates did not want to face a sweep right off the bat on this road trip because the schedule gets harder. They have Houston coming up next, and the Astros have turned their season completely around. They are very hot. Bregman had a game-winning walk-off yesterday. And then after that, although Paul Skeens goes tomorrow for the Pirates, so that's good news. After that, it is coming home to face this same Arizona team on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, followed by the San Diego Padres. All of these teams are in contention. All of these teams are ahead of the Pirates when it comes to record-wise and where they are in the standings. So the Pirates are going to have some tough sledding here just to keep on where they are, and that begs the question, what will Ben Cherington do? Other teams, including the team right behind the Pirates, the Chicago Cubs, have made trades. Chicago, you would have thought would have been sellers based on where they are. Instead, they go out and acquire Paredes, the all-star third baseman from Tampa. Tampa seems to be on a fire sale right now. They're getting rid of players left and right. And in the meantime, the Pirates have done nothing, and they need help. And if you're trying to get into this playoff, third wild card is available. Second wild card could be available. The Cardinals have played bad baseball of late. I know the Mets are hot. I know the Padres have been hot, and so is Arizona. But you gotta be in a situation to try to help your team, don't you? Ben Cherington should be doing that. And I'm not sure what is available out there. We'll talk more about this, by the way, on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. That's tonight, 11:35 on KDKA, with my panel of Andrew Filipponi, Jason Mackey, and Ray Fittipaldo. Also going on, the Steelers, of course, and Russell Wilson was a little bit more active today, but he hasn't done anything in the first week of training camp. Now, that may be by design. The one issue that you would have to take exception to is why are quarterbacks pushing that big sled around? That's normally reserved for offensive linemen, linebackers, people like that, not quarterbacks. And yet apparently he got injured. He injured his calf when pushing one of those big, heavy sleds. And that doesn't make a lot of sense. I know they have a different weight training staff on board, so I doubt you'll see that happen again, at least not for quarterbacks, especially a 36-year-old quarterback. But Wilson appears to be okay, and next week we'll see him on the field. And then, it's so early, it really doesn't matter at this point. As long as he's healthy, he knows what he's doing out there. He's been around the league an awful long time. But Justin Fields has had opportunities, and, kind of some good days, some bad days, some good throws, some bad throws. Again, I think when you start seeing some of these games play out on preseason stages, like we have all 3 games coming up on KDK beginning with August the 9th. The Texans come to town. First of 2 home games. The Bills would be next, and then a trip to Detroit to take on the Lions. You're going to get a better idea of what's going on there. Then there's George Pickens, who at this point is #1 wide receiver on this team, but they do need somebody else to really step up and help him. Otherwise, he's going to see a lot of double teams. This should also make Pat Freiermuth a much more targeted guy this year, and he's entering the final year of his rookie contract. So I would imagine the Steelers want to get him done, sign him to a deal, whatever. But they're going to need some other help. Whether it's Roman Wilson, although it's hard to expect him as a raw rookie to come in and do that, although he could be a good slot person. Van Jefferson has been hit by some injuries over the last few years, but he's a talented kid, it looks like. But they still need somebody else over there, somebody who has a bigger and better resume. Omar Khan knows how to play this game, and he also can wait. He's a patient man. Sometimes that works to your advantage, as it did with Justin Fields. They had waited. Finally, for a 6th-round pick, nobody else was biting, which is a question in and of itself. He ends up getting that deal done. So I want to hear from you on all this stuff coming up at 412-575-2600. Hit me up at KDPump. And one note, I'm a little late on this, but I was on vacation. Happy birthday to the first man of this program. That would be Gary Ireland. Yes, Lady Diana's husband. Lady Di gets all the praise from me normally, but Gary, happy birthday. I hope you had a nice time, and I'm sure your family made it a very wonderful birthday. So happy birthday. Even though it's a week late, you knew I'd get it done. We're going to take your phone calls coming up next. It's 412-575-2600. Call me. Air your opinions right here on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. GMC Sierra tweet of the night. Yeah, this one is about Mike Tomlin, who met Smokey Robinson today at training camp. And a little shout out to the Hampson family, Pat and Debbie Hampson, who put together another successful year of Celebrity Care Fest. The last two nights at their home in Gibsonia, Smokey Robinson and Pitbull were there. Last night, Pat Benatar was there the night before, along with Queen V. So they bring in some top-notch entertainment, all trying to help local charities. And this year, the beneficiary was UPMC Children's Hospital. But Tomlin really likes Smokey, and Smokey really likes Mike Tomlin. 412-575-2600 is the number to call. Let's get right to it. A lot of people want to begin, and we'll go to Will in McKees Rocks, our first caller tonight. What's up, Will? How are you?
Hey, how are you? Welcome back, Paul.
Thank you.
Oh, yes. Listen, I wanted to get your opinion on the Pirates. You know, today on the radio show, Ben Cherington says that he has limited financial ability for, trade or to bring somebody else in right now. But Nutting has gone on record saying that if we get ourselves into a bit of contention, that he would open up the wallet. So at this point, who do you believe?
That's a good question, Will. Who do you believe? I mean, Bob Nutting made that very clear, and yet Ben Cherington seems to be hesitant to do it. So I'm not sure how much of it is just words followed by no action. I don't know. All I know is, why wouldn't you think you'd have a chance with this pitching staff being what it is? They're always so protective of prospects, and that's fine to a degree. I would say 80% of the prospects never really turn out to be anything but that, prospects. A guy like Quinn Priester, we've been waiting on for a long time. Now, Keller's an example of patience paying off with him, but so many guys have come and gone, and you thought, man, these guys are going to be good, they're going to help. Not everyone will. So utilize them as trade chips to get what you need. And right now, again, they're right there knocking on the door. If they put together any sort of streak, they could be in a position of winning that third wild card spot. And if they do, in a best of three, you're going to tell me you wouldn't take your shot with Skeens if Jones is back by then and Keller, those three pitchers? I think you'd have a good shot. But again, you got to do something in advance of it. You got to make some commitments. Some of these guys have been acquired for not all that much in return. So you can get rid of prospects who are rated 20 and above and save some of the ones you want to save, like Bubba Chandler, Ashcroft, those kind of guys. So they have until Tuesday afternoon. We'll see what happens. But I got to believe they're going to do something. It may not be a big deal, but at least something to bring a bat in here. Chuck in Uniontown, you are next and live right here on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. Hey, Chuck.
Good evening, Bob, and thank you. Yeah, I get the idea that teams don't want to trade with the Pirates because the Pirates never do anything. They talk and talk, but they when it comes run cutting time, they get cold feet. But as far as the situation is right now, I mean, it's a big win today. It may well have saved their season, but they got to look at this as their division is not the Central Division. Their division right now is everybody that they're competing against, and they might as well win because if they're not winning, somebody else is. And almost every night when you lose, you're losing ground to somebody. But another thing, too, do you realize the Diamondbacks are 12-5 in their last 17 games in Pittsburgh? We've got to stop that.
They got a tough series coming up, Chuck, no question. Good points there. And here's the thing, a guy like Jesse Winker, I just don't understand why the Pirates wouldn't be interested in somebody like that. He's making only $2 million. It didn't take much to get him over there. Jazz Chisholm ends up with the Yankees of all teams. This is a guy who could have helped the Pirates right now. I think he has 13 home runs. He's a good center fielder. They need a center fielder. They just demoted Jack Sawinski, so they need to, what are you going to do, put Michael A. Taylor out there every day, G1 Bay? They need better. he could have been had. And again, I didn't think the return on that trade was all that significant. They could have made something like that. At some point, you owe it to your team. They've battled, and I'll say that about them. They have battled themselves through some games to be in this position. So, there's no guarantee you're going to make it, but don't you owe it to them and your fan base to try? 412-575-2600. Bobby in the North Hills joins us right now. What's up, Bobby? How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How you doing?
Good. Thanks.
Yeah, I was just wondering, why didn't they and Sherrington go after Chad Chisholm or
reversed
before all that? Yeah, but it's kind of a confusing name, but I just don't understand. They always wait to the last minute of it.
You got to be willing to part with some things, Bob. And I don't think sometimes they get too protective. Again, I'll say they get too protective of their draft picks or their prospects. You acquire them, you're never going to play all of them, so trade some of them. There's no harm in that. And if they're reluctant to do so because of what happened a decade ago when they made that trade for Chris Archer, you can't be gun shy about it. You just can't. You got to go out and make deals if you believe it'll help your team. And there's got to be something out there. If you look at today's lineup, I know Brian Reynolds is out. I know Nick Gonzalez is injured. But your 5 hitters were Connor Joe, Josh Palacios, and Brian Hayes, who's really struggled. Now, good for him. He came up with a big hit in the 10th inning that won the game for them. But you need more than that. You have to have that, especially with the pitching you're getting. Butch joins us right now in Punxsutawney. What's up, Butch? How are you?
Thanks for taking my call, Bob.
Sure.
This weekend we got to look at what a legitimate playoff team looks like. They're solid 1-9. They're at the top of the league in hitting with runners in scoring position. And what a team with not much of a chance to make the playoff looks like. They're not solid anywhere, maybe other than pitching. A couple examples this weekend. I remember watching the first game. They were losing 4-3 in the 7th inning. The 8th and 9th man got on base. That brought up our first, second, and third hitters. You know what we got? Strikeout, ground out. In today's game.
Well, Butch, you're making a point that you may not think they're a contending team, even if they add on. And that could be true. I mean, I don't know that for certain. They may not be very good in terms of, but again, to me, if you get into that one opportunity, you're not going to need a lot of runs to score or to win a best of 3 with those pitchers you have. I would take my chances with that, even though their batting right now is just anemic in so many areas. That's why you got to go out and bring somebody else in. And now listen, if they don't, or even if they do, and they don't make the playoffs, here's the thing next year. Your year 6 of Ben Cherington, at this point, results have to be the number one issue. I mean, 5 years is long enough. 6, you got to go out and make an offseason and just spend money on hitting. You got some pitching. You have Bubba Chandler knocking on the door and others to go along with what you have here. Keller's signed, Skeens and Jones are young and under control. You need to go out and then bring in some bats and not be afraid to pay them. Jack in Uniontown joins us right now. What's up, Jack?
Yeah, good evening, Bob. Bob, I just want to kind of give my opinion on training methods now. And, this has been going on for a long time, but pushing sleds and flipping tires and doing plyometrics, explosive exercises like that, are certainly okay for professional athletes. And Tom Brady was doing those things until he was 42. So this is the second night in a row I heard your show question the methods of the Steelers coaching staff with pushing sleds. And those are single sleds, and you pull them or push them.
But I've never seen quarterbacks. I've never seen quarterbacks do that. Have you?
Oh, yeah. Well, yes, I was a high school coach, and I was actually a college coach, too. And the methods of these sleds are not the big blocking sleds of offensive linemen where you put the whole line on there. You would either take, one athlete. We did it with sophomore quarterbacks, let alone professional quarterbacks. So, yeah, it's certainly. Maybe Russell's not making it clear that he was just either pushing or pulling a single-man sled for training purposes. So.
I got you, but I still don't think it's necessary for quarterbacks. Jim in Peters Township is next up right here on the Sports Call. Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, I don't know what everybody's panicking about. Tuesday's not here yet. I understand this is Sunday. Okay, now, they got the best pitching in the division. I don't think there's any question on that. Okay, now, we'll see how it goes. Skeens is pitching tomorrow. Good chance they're going to win that game. Now, having said that, I still think they could win the division. I mean, everyone's going by past. This is 2024. This is not the same Pirates. Now,
I don't know about that. You're going to have to convince me and show me that they're not the same Pirates. And I'm talking about what they do at this deadline. You say be patient, okay. But some of the guys they've been targeting and talked to have been in conversations with the Pirates who have not been willing to meet the price. At some point, you have to meet the price. That's all I'm saying, Jack. You may be right. We'll see. Tuesday will be here before you know it, and we'll have an answer for you. But thank you for the call. Mike Andreski on Twitter hit us up at KD Pomp. He says today's game was a perfect example of the traditional extra inning process. Catcher playing first base, infielder making an amazing catch in the outfield in his first ever opportunity, running out of position players trying to figure out who pitches next. That was fun, he says. It's fun, but you may run out of players, too. And in that game, they could have faced that reality. But Derek Shelton, I thought, did a pretty good job of pulling the right punches at critical times of this game. We'll take a break, come back with more. This is the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call, 7 nights a week on Pittsburgh's KDKA+.